What is up, people? We are back. It is another edition of The Breakdown here on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network. Max Friedman here, joined as always by my man, the news-breaking, fight-announcing king of Europe, or probably this entire world, Marcel Dorf. What's up, my man? Hearing the boys at MMA DNA are back at it today, breaking another big fight. Tell the people how you doing and what's the news.
Yeah, man, doing well. Thank you. Glad to be back. And I have a great card, I think, in front of us right now. And the news, we got Marcin Tybura coming back. Recently signed a new contract with the UFC. He's taking on the Moldovan newcomer Alexander Romanov, who was 11-0 at July 11th in Abu Dhabi, UFC 251.
Is it just me, or does it seem like there's 800 fights on that card?
There are now 12, actually, because they have Edgar against Munoz is now to July 15th. Yeah.
But yeah, good fight. Kind of surprised to see Marcin Tybura pick up another UFC contract, but he did get a win in his last fight. But Romanov, excited to see his debut, that's for sure.
Me too, man. Me too.
Well, I'm sure you're also excited to talk about this event. Given that last week you absolutely smoked me on the night, 8-2 for you for the UFC Vegas 2 card. Favorites went 8-2. I had a modest 5-5. Not doing too well. I'm not picking these smaller cage fights better. Not as well, I guess I should say. So that's something I'm going to look into this week is try to think more along the lines of the smaller cage. I think it really does play a difference.
When you said you smoked me, I had to think about a line in a certain song. So.
I don't know what song you're referencing, but we also picked up a bonus. Tyson Nam, great to see him get that big knockout win, man. That was brutal. Your underdog pick went through with Cynthia Calvillo. Both hit on our lock of Julia Avila for the evening. Totals on the year, 101-59 for you, Big Marcel, not bad. Breaking the century mark. I'm at 91-69, so 10 behind you. You got 10 bonuses. I got 7. 10 of 14 underdog picks correct for you. I'm at 6 of 14, so not picking the underdogs as well as I was. 12 of 14 on the locks to your 10 and 14. Marcelino, final look backs, thoughts on UFC Vegas 2. Anything big you want to point out?
Yeah, I think it was a good night of fights, man. I mean, there was a lot of controversy with people who were like, "Nah, I don't like it, this and that." But I think it was at the first 3 fights, man, was a combined 2 minutes or something crazy. 2 minutes fights and 1.5 hour. Amazing UFC. But yeah, you don't see that at ACA. They're just gonna go on.
What is it? Less talk, more fights, or something?
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it should be, right? But yeah, great. I think the UFC was, not disrespect, but I think the UFC was very happy to see Calvillo win in that main event because they have a new girl on the top of that division right now. And I don't know, man, but Jessica, I have nothing against her, but she's the kind of person who should fight more and talk less, I think. Because it's not really bright what she's saying the last couple of days. And yeah, what can you do? I have nothing against her because I always liked her. I actually, first time I saw her, I think, was at Bellator when she choked out Zoila Frosto, I think. It was upset. Frosto was the champion back then. It wasn't a championship fight, by the way. But, yeah, that's the first time I saw her. I always liked Jessica I. But please, stay off social media, man. It's just off.
Good win for Calvillo, and I kind of had a vision that morning. I was like, you know what? I think the smaller cage, I think Calvillo's going to score a takedown. I don't know if she's going to get a submission, but she's going to just control on top, and I don't know why I picked I. So I didn't change my pick because, don't change your gut initial feeling, but
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But looking ahead, UFC on ESPN 11, I believe it is. This comes at you June 20th. It's back at the Apex for this weekend. Should be a fun card. And we're going to the early prelims bout order courtesy of our good friend MMA Form Guide. Always on top of the latest fight announcements. Check out his account. Find out all the fight times in your area of the world. Austin Hubbard, Max Roskopf at 155. Roscoff, the debuting lightweight out of Vegas, is the -175 favorite. Austin Hubbard +155. Thud is his nickname. He is 28. He's 11-4 as a pro, 1-2 in the UFC, coming off a tough loss to Mark O. Madsen, but showed some serious toughness in that one. Elevation fight team guy, gets a lot of work in with Neil Magny, Drew Dober, Justin Gaethje. Those are solid training partners, that's for sure. Re-signed a new contract to the UFC recently, so probably not on the chopping block. Originally slated against Joe Solecki, but Solecki out, and on a week's notice, in steps the uber prospect, Max Roscoff. But you got to think he was ready. He was training for one of these cards or Dana White's Contender Series, given the situation, given how many consecutive fights there were at the Apex and the possibility of Contender Series. He's 5-0, 25-year-old, Extreme Couture and Robert Drysdale's gym, formerly an All-American wrestler at North Carolina State. All 5 wins by first or second round submission. Vegas, big on the prospect. Marcel, I was curious to see how you break this one down.
So the thing is, right here, like what you say, Roscoff, he was actually supposed to fight in August, what I heard. So I don't know if that's in the UFC or Contender Series. Probably Contender Series, because Contender Series start in August, I think. Yeah, Roscoff, like you said, uber prospect, right on the ground, training at Drysdale, Zenith MMA, if I'm correct.
Zenith,
yeah. Austin Hubbard, 1-2 in the UFC. I got 2 losses against Mark O. Madsen and against David Ramos, but both didn't finish him. Hamosh. Both didn't finish him. So, I don't know, man. I mean, I told you my pick when you asked me, and it still remains that way. I'm taking Max Roscoff to win this fight. Not by submission. I think he takes a decision. I think for the first time in his MMA career, he will go to a decision. But I see him getting this fight to the ground and doing some damage there. I'm taking Max Roscoff.
I'm going the other way, taking the experience of Austin Hubbard here. I know he was susceptible to takedowns from Marco Madsen. I like his toughness, training at elevation, weathers that storm. He might get taken down a few times, but Roscoff hasn't been out of the second round before, so I like Hubbard to get that late finish. Give me Austin Hubbard TKO in third round. I don't think he's going to leave it in the hands of the judges. I think we see the newcomer tested very deeply, and then in the late rounds, the vet takes over.
Man, if Hubbard loses this one, he's 1-3 and likely to get cut, and that would be horrible because he's a good fighter.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting because we both mentioned just signed a new contract. So, but going 1-3, never a good look, especially at lightweight, over 100 guys on the roster.
Yeah.
Flyweights on deck, the number 5 ranked Roxanne Modafferi at -120, the number 6 ranked Lauren Murphy even, according to the betting lines. The Happy Warrior Roxy, 37, 24-16 as a pro, 3-3 in the UFC in the second stint since rejoining following the Ultimate Fighter. Massive upset win over Macy Barber in January. That was her last time out. Meanwhile, Lauren Murphy, back-to-back fights for the first time in her UFC career. She has won back-to-back fights, I should say. 3-1 in this stint following the Ultimate Fighter. Most recently knocked off Andrea Lee as an underdog in February. Seems to like her new fight camp in Houston. Marcel Modafferi, Lauren Murphy. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, Lauren Murphy will hate me for this, but I still think she didn't win that fight against Andrea Lee. But, yeah, actually, this fight is kind of low on the card, man. I mean, top 10 flyweights, women. It kind of sees where the UFC sees these women right now in the flyweight division, in my opinion. I don't say I agree with it, but kind of shows, in my opinion. Roxanne Modafferi, yeah, she's a veteran, man. She's pretty good on the ground. I think a fan favorite. Lauren Murphy, like you said, 2-fight win streak. Questionable win, like I said, to Andrea Lee. But before that, she pretty much destroyed Mara Romero Barella, right? So
knocked her out.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Man, I think Modafferi can pretty much take her down, probably do some damage on the ground, keep her there. I take Roxy by unanimous decision in this one.
So here's the thing. This was a fight that I thought I had a great read on right away, and it was Murphy to keep it standing and get a unanimous decision win. I think it goes kind of similar to that Jennifer Maia fight for Roxanne Modafferi. Then this small cage thing keeps messing me up, so I don't know. But I'm sticking with my original pick, Lauren Murphy, unanimous decision for me. Final early prelim, we got lightweights Frank Camacho and Matt Frivola, minus 115 on both sides. Marcel, why don't you start?
So yeah, Frank Camacho, very interesting guy to see fight. I think he doesn't have the best track record, but he's always fun to watch.
Yeah, 2-4 in the UFC.
Yeah, big winner with Nick Hine back then. But yeah, his losses aren't that bad, man. He lost to Li Jingliang, Drew Dober, Jeff Neal, and Benil Dariush. And maybe two or three of those guys are just actually all four are very good. So what can you say? Frank Camacho, he comes always to fight. He's a tough guy. Taking on Matt Frivola. I think he's from Sarah Longo team, right?
Yeah, Sarah Longo, dual training in Tampa under Matt Arroyo as well.
True, yeah, exactly. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. He won against Luis Pena last time out. I know people saying they don't agree with the decision. I do agree with the decision. I think he won that fight. Actually, he only lost a fight against Paulo Reyes because he went crazy and he went with he went trading with Paulo Reyes, which is not his strength in my opinion. Man, if Frivola fights smart, he can defeat Camacho. So if he doesn't get in a trade fast with him, win a slugfest, I think Frivola takes the unanimous decision win. But can go either way.
Yeah. Not too much to add here. I think you hit on pretty much all the points. I think Frivola has really grown a lot in his UFC career from that firefight in St. Louis with Paulo Reyes. It's hard. Can you trust Frank Camacho to land that big bomb? I don't know. I think Frivola and the Sarah Longo momentum is on his side. I think he weathers the storm and gets the decision. So give me a steamroller by unanimous decision as well. But could go either way. Going to the televised prelims, or the main prelims, I should say, the number 15 ranked flyweight Courtney Casey is even, according to the betting lines, against Jillian Robertson at minus 120. How the hell is Courtney Casey ranked after one win over Maro Romero Barella at 125? But Jillian Robertson's
Barella
not.
Was ranked.
Why was she ranked? She hasn't had a win in years. Jillian Robertson, 4-2 in the UFC, all finishes, win or lose, I should say. The Savage recently left ATT to train under her coach, Dean Thomas, but is coming off a TKO loss in this one, originally slated to face Talia Santos. Meanwhile, Casey, 9-7 as a pro, fought some of the strawweight division's best. She's at Fight Ready Gym under Santino DeFranco and Eddie Cha. And as you know, Marcel, you ready for it?
Yeah, come on.
She's in a relationship with the UFC lightweight Drakkar Klose. Give us your breakdown of this fight.
Yeah, Courtney Casey, she had a great debut at flyweight against Maro Romero Barella. Armbar. I think she actually a little bit came back because Maro Romero Barella pretty much started pretty well in that fight, if I remember correctly. She got some split decision losses, which should have gone her way as well. Could have gone her way as well against Michelle Waterson and Felice Herrig. Yeah. Jillian Robertson was on a 2-fight winning streak, defeating Sarah Frota and Max Love Veronica Macedo. Then lost to Macy Barber in the first round. I would have think that would have been more competitive, but it actually wasn't. Yeah, I think the thing is, Jillian Robertson, she's good, but she probably needs a finish, I think, to get Casey. Casey's durable and tough, man. Give me Casey, a decision here. I think Casey gets it done. And I expect Casey also to be a little bit bigger than Robertson in that. So I'm thinking Casey, unanimous decision.
Casey's tough. I'm a fan of her, but I got Jillian Robertson here. I think she wins the grappling exchanges and either a late submission or a unanimous decision for the Savage Jillian Robertson for me. But funny about that Courtney Casey Felice Herrig fight. Quick funny story here. It's Chicago Tribune. It's like the main local newspaper. I think I told you this. They put a story about Felice Herrig and someone else. CM Punk for their fights in Chicago. Last, I want to say 2018 when CM Punk fought Mike Jackson. Felice Herrig, I believe, got she was against, I want to say, Michelle Watterson. The picture they used for Felice Herrig, the article about Chicago's own CM Punk and Felice Herrig fighting in Chicago, was a picture of Courtney Casey. Mind blowing. But
Felice also reacted to that, right?
Yeah, she was just like SMH. Stupid. All right. Moving along here, middleweights on deck. Marc-Andre Barriault taking on Oscar Picota. Picota, the slight -125 favorite, Barriault at +105. These middleweights are most certainly on the hot seat. I don't think that's any surprise here. Power bar, Marc-Andre Barriault, 11-4. He is 30 out of Canada. Big goose egg in his UFC career thus far, going at 0-3. All decision losses. Most recently, South Korea in December, John Young Park decision there. And a not as popular TMZ update. He's actually dating a fellow fighter, regional Canadian flyweight Jade Wong. For those of you who may know her on the regional scene. The look on Marcel's face right now is priceless. Picota, 3-fight losing streak of his own. Did win his first 2 UFC fights, but the record now still 2-3. He, on the other hand, finished in all 3 of those losses. Most recently, just got his clock cleaned by Puna Soriano in December. Big Marcel called that one identically. That was in Vegas. Marcel Barriault, Picota, probably a loser leaves town. I think you would agree. Who walks away with the winner here?
Barriault decision next.
Me too. Barriault, UD. All right. I know Marcel is excited about this next one. Strawweights. Brianna Van Buren taking on Tisha Torres, the number 12 ranked strawweight Tiny Tornado. Van Buren -190. The comeback on the ranked Tisha Torres is +165. The Tiny Tornado 10-5 as a pro, 7-5 in the UFC. She is on a 4-fight losing streak. All unanimous decision losses, though 3 are current or former champions in that stretch. In Marina Rodriguez, who we both know is a savage. She is married to UFC bantamweight Raquel Pennington, who is also on this card. I think this is the second time in history that a married couple has fought on the same card. The De La Rosas did it back in February in Rio Rancho. Welcome back, Brianna Van Buren. The Bull, 9-2 as a pro, 26 years old out of California, 6-fight winning streak, including that short notice UFC debut, taking out former Invicta champ Livia Renata Souza. That was 11 months ago. Been out of action since. Marcel, I know you're a big fan of Brianna Van Buren. How do you think this matchup goes with Tisha Torres?
Yeah, man, it's actually a fun matchup. Let's first go to Tisha Torres, the veteran. Like you said, 4-fight losing streak, but against the lead of the division, man, against Jessica Andrade, against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Weili Zhang, and Marina Rodriguez. I mean, Marina Rodriguez is pretty much like Van Buren, a big prospect in the division, but Zhang, Joanna, and Jessica are all 3 champions or former champions. So it's a little bit, how do you say that? A little bit, I don't know the right word, but people say.
Take it with a grain of salt is the expression often used. Yeah.
So Brianna Van Buren, she had an amazing debut against Livia Renata Souza. I mean, that was very strong. I mean, she was a short notice replacement, right? And she pretty much dominated that fight, man. And I never saw Livia being dominated like that before. Brian also won the Invicta FC Phoenix Series for 1 before she joined the UFC. Yeah, very
dominated that tournament too. Just ran through it.
Yeah, very fun matchup here, man. I think Van Buren can implement her ground game probably, and she takes a decision. Sorry, a decision here. Fun fight. Also, if I can plug, watch JHK's interview with Brian Van Buren. Very cool interview.
Good friend John Hyanko at JHK MMA. Great interviews, both of current UFC fighters as well as a lot of the regional guys too. So men and women. Headlining the prelims is
What's your pick, dude?
Oh, sorry, Brianna Van Buren. Unanimous decision as well. I agree with everything you said. Headlining the prelims, lightweights. The King, Bobby Green, taking on Clay Guida. Green is minus 235, Guida at plus 195. This is about as veteran of a matchup as you can make in the UFC these days. This is rebooking from a 2018 bout, which, Marcel, if I remember correctly, Clay Guida announced this fight himself using a picture from the boys at MMA DNA.
Yeah, he did. he saved that picture for 3 years ago.
Has the logo and everything. That's how you know. I love it because people it's not the most eye-popping logo, so a lot of times they just see a side by side. This is perfect, and then little they know it's got the MMA DNA right there.
It actually was funny because he posted that 5 a.m. my time, and I was asleep. So somebody sent me that picture, and I was like, dude, what the hell? He's like, yeah, Clay Guida posted that. I was like, what the hell? It's not even announced. So how? I was like, oh yeah, 2 years ago that fight was also announced. That's why I got the picture.
Bobby King Green is 33. He's out of Pinnacle MMA, the staple in California. He's 24-10-1 as a pro, 5-5-1 in the UFC, and he might be the all-time UFC canceled fight leaders. He's up there with the likes of Ray Borg and Ian McCall and Dominic Cruz. Comes into this one off back-to-back losses to Francisco Trinaldo and the aforementioned Drakkar Klose. Guida is 38. He's been in the UFC since 2006. 15-13 in the UFC. Does come into this one off a submission loss to Jim Miller. Man, Vegas all over Bobby Green in this one. He started at minus 205 and now up to minus 235. What do you think, Big Marcel?
I'm actually shocked, man. I thought people would give Guida the edge in this one. I'm going with Bobby Green as well, to be honest, man. I think Bobby Green, he lost his last 2 fights, but he didn't look bad in that one. He arguably won maybe his last fight. I think Ronaldo probably won the fight, but it was close. It was a close fight in my opinion. If I think about Bobby Green, I always think about spray, and that's because when he wins, he always drinks
does the
water.
Triple H,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So Clay Guida, good fighter, veteran, but man, he only got a win in his last 3 fights against BJ Penn. And nothing against BJ Penn, dude's a legend, but yeah, what can you say? Bobby Green for me, man. I think even Bobby Green finishes him TKO second round.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to take Green via a split decision here, and the only reason it's not unanimous is the small cage. I think Guida's going to be the aggressor, and so it's going to be a little bit closer of a fight, but I like Green's head movement and his shots to win. One thing that I always think about Bobby Green is when he defeated Eric Koch and John Anik gets on the microphone. He's like, Bobby Green, after this win, expect a number next to your name. I was like, I'm pretty sure he lost 2 in a row prior and then beat Eric Koch, who fights once every 5 years. So I'm not sure what you're watching, John Anik, but also, as we know, the rankings always a head scratcher.
Listen, man, if I have to choose between John Anik, Joe Rogan, and DC, I'll pick John Anik.
That's true. Yeah, agreed. All right, main card time. We got Jim Miller taking on Roosevelt Roberts. Roberts at the minus 225 mark. Jim Miller plus 185. Are you ready for it, Big Marcel?
Yeah.
Trapped all day, play all night. This is the life of a go-getter. Ro Roberts, quick turnaround here. He's 10-1, 4-1 in the UFC. Most recently submitted Brock Weaver on May 30th. Back-to-back wins now after facing that first UFC defeat to Vince Pichel. We both called that Brock Weaver fight with ease. We knew that was going to happen. But who doesn't love us some Jim Miller? 36 years old, major vet, been in the UFC since 2008. Had 1 back-to-back fights, but most recently suffered a hard-fought decision loss to Scott Holtzman. I really thought he was going to walk away with that one. You actually called that one correctly. Marcel Roberts and Jim Miller kicking off the main card. How do you see this one playing out?
So I'm going to make the same joke again. Roosevelt with the Lincoln tattoo. Yeah, he looked good against Brock Weaver, man, but we didn't expect anything less, right? Jim Miller, he should be, honestly, he should be in the UFC Hall of Fame, man, I think. I know people will probably say he was never a champ or that, but man, how many fights he had in the UFC? He beat some tough competition. If you put Forrest Griffin in the UFC Hall of Fame, Stephen Bonner, even with a fight, I don't care. You also have to put Jim Miller in the Hall of Fame. That's just my opinion. Maybe people will disagree with it, but whatever. Um, yeah, intriguing fight, man. Definitely. I mean, Roosevelt Roberts is probably one of the newer guys on the block right now. One loss against Vince Pichel, which was a very close fight, in my opinion. Jim Miller looked good in his fights against Jason Gonzalez and Clay Guida. Lost to Scott Holtzman, and I think it was the fight of the night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Jason Gonzalez should not have been in the UFC ever.
okay. um, So, man, this is difficult, man, because, man, Jim Miller is tough, but Roosevelt Roberts is a future guy, man. I mean, I'm taking Roosevelt Roberts for a split decision, but we'll be close, man, I think. I think you go with Jim Miller, but I'm going with Roberts.
I'm not. Roberts is talented. I think he'll be pushed by someone with insane cardio, but Miller's shown some tendencies to fade, and I think he'll fight a smart fight and route to a unanimous decision victory for the go-getter. All right, fun welterweight fight on deck. Bilal Muhammad at -120. He takes on Lyman Good, the cyborg, who is even. This line has been all movement towards Lyman Good. Bilal Muhammad opened at -165, now down to -120. Marcel, I will let you kick things off for this awesome welterweight contest.
By the way, if everything gets together, I have an interview tomorrow with Lyman Good, so
check that out.
Yeah. Bilal Muhammad, good fighter, man. Very strong ground game, in my opinion. They have a common opponent in Chance Rancounter, by the way, where Bilal Muhammad decisioned him and really dominated that fight while he was in Ramadan. Remember that?
Yeah.
So that was pretty impressive. Lyman Good, he also has a win over Chance Rancounter, actually in his last fight, where we pretty much knocked him out in the third round. It was a pretty big win, in my opinion, at that moment. Bilal Muhammad, actually, this fight has been booked several times, and now we're finally going to see it. I'm happy we're finally going to see it. Bilal Muhammad on a 2-fight winning streak. His only loss in his last 5 fights was to Jeff Neal, but everybody's losing to Jeff Neal right now, so nothing bad in that one. Lyman Good, he has a win-lose record in the UFC. In my opinion, he won against Zaleski, but he got pretty much completely shut down against Damian Maia. I don't know what happened there, but he landed maybe one strike, and it was domination for Maia in that fight. Man, I think if Lyman can keep it standing, he can win this fight. If it goes to the ground and Bilal can keep him to the ground, it will be tough for him. Bilal can win that fight as well. It's a close fight. I think Lyman wins via TKO in the third round, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Bilal winning on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on most everything. I don't think I can really add too much here. Bilal Muhammad, though, interesting. He was offered the fight against Eliseu Zaleski in Brazil, in Brasilia in March, accepted it, and then the UFC pulled him out, replaced him with Alexei Kunchenko, didn't tell him why, and then ultimately gets rebooked with this fight with Lyman Good. I think it's actually a better fight. Good, I think, has the power. I think he negates the attack of Bilal Muhammad. I'm going TKO for the cyborg in the second round.
By the way, you're reading those stories about Joe Silva, the fighter.
Yeah, holy cow. I mean, I had heard that he was like an asshole and like mean and nasty, but I mean, it's kind of interesting to see all these all these like stories surface now and truly see because what do these fighters have to do? They're not going to lie. They're not going to make stuff up. What good does it do them to either way?
A problem is only those fighters speak out when they gone from the company, right?
Yeah.
I understand they are not going to talk about the company when they are with the company, but right now it's interesting to read, but you don't have anything on it.
No. All right, well, we move things along here at bantamweight. Raquel Pennington at number 6 in the rankings is the -150 favorite against Marion Renault, the 10-ranked bantamweight at +130. Renault 9-5-1. She is 42 years old, 5-4-1 in the UFC. Comes into this one off back-to-back losses to Kat Zingano and Yana Kunitskaya. Was supposed to face Ketlin Vieira at UFC 249 originally. Rocky, meanwhile, 10-8, 1-3 in her last 4. Comes in off a loss to Holly Holm in their January rematch. Marcel, I'll go first here. I got to favor Pennington all day in this one. I think these are the fights she shines in, the ones where she is clearly the lesser talented fighter. She doesn't do as well. So I'm taking Rocky by a unanimous decision.
Yeah, man, beautiful bedroom break between two great fights, I think, here. I really like Renault, by the way, man. I think she won the fight against – I think she won against Kunitskaya, but that's my opinion. Pennington losing to Holly Holm, that was a pretty horrible fight, in my opinion. But Pennington decision, can't say anything else, I think, here. But yeah, it's not a fight I'm really looking forward to be honest. I would have been more intrigued by Renault against Vieira, for example. So.
All right, co-main event time at featherweight. The number 8 ranked Josh Emmett, the slight plus 115 underdog against the number 10 ranked Shane Burgos at minus 135. I believe, Marcel, you have an interview with Shane Burgos out there, published with him and his brother, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Check that out. MMA DNA, great read and listen. Marcel, I know you're very pumped about this fight. Why don't you kick things off?
So Josh Emmett, knockout power in his hands, man. I mean, his last 2 fights against Bektic and Johnson, he was losing to Johnson, being honest, man. But
he was down 2 rounds, yeah.
Yeah, knocked him out in the 3rd round with less than a minute to go. Then he won against Bektic in the 1st round. Before that, losing that grueling knockout against Stevens, I still think that was overkill what Stevens did. I know you have to keep punching till the referee pulls you off, but Stevens loves to give some extra punches. I'm not really about that, you know. 4-1 in his last 5 fights, pretty impressive. Also knocked out Ricardo Lamas. That was a big upset back then. That got him into the rankings, actually. Shane Burgos, yeah, what can I say about him, man? I mean, you know, I'm kind of biased if it comes to Shane Burgos. He's an amazing fighter. I think he only lost to Calvin Kattar in his whole career, actually.
Yeah, and that was such a great fight, back and forth as you could get.
Amazing fight. Was 1-1 going into the 3rd round, and then he got caught. Since then, won 3 fights. Kurt Hallebauer, which he got knocked down in, but he got an armbar immediately after that. A split decision against Cub Swanson, which should have been unanimous. And Makwan Amarkani, he also came back in that fight, man. In the 1st round, he was in a horrible position at a certain moment, almost got submitted, but he came back and pretty much dominated rounds 2 and 3. Yeah, great fight, I think. The thing is, Josh Emmett has that knockout punch, you know, and we all know Shane loves to how do you say that, to
trade.
No, just bob and weave. Exactly. Thank you. To bob and weave and just flowing with the punches, you know. And if Emmett connects, that can be a bad night. But I think Shane will pull through. I think he gets this win. And man, I'm going crazy, man. I think Shane submits him in the 2nd round.
You are going crazy on that one. Emmett, Team Alpha Male, 6-2 in the UFC, 15-2 overall. It's a great record. The only loss in the UFC to Des Green and Jeremy Stevens. Shane Burgos, equally impressive record, 13-1, 6-1 in the UFC. His last fight was that dominant win over Makwan Amirkhani, finish over Makwan Amirkhani in New York, but prior to that, dominant win over Cub Swanson. Yeah, you got to be careful with Emmett's hands. I mean, he could put anyone away. Shane Burgos, though, is so skilled on the feet. I just can't see him he already suffered that first pro defeat where he got caught. I can't see him getting caught again. So I'm going Burgos via decision. I think he lands more on the feet and just a little too quick for Emmett, but I think that's a great fight. Main event time in the heavyweight division. The number 3 ranked Curtis Blades at minus 400 has gone. All the money coming in on him. Number 7 ranked Alexander Volkov at plus 325. Neither should be a stranger here. Both have been in main events before. The Chicago-born Curtis Blades, now at Elevation Fight Team, is 13-2 8, well, really 9-2 in the UFC, both losses at the hands of Francis Ngannou, on a 3-fight win streak with back-to-back finishes over Shamil Abdurakhimov and Junior Dos Santos. Volkov, meanwhile, 31-7, 5-1 in the UFC. That lone loss, a come-from-behind victory from Derek Lewis, that last-ditch effort, but is coming off a decision victory over Greg Hardy late last year. Vegas is all over Blades. I mean, he has gone up immensely since opening up. I think he opened up around minus 185. Smaller cage too, so that's something you got to keep an eye on. Marcel Blades and Volkov in the main event. Break this one down.
Yeah, Maastricht is also over Curtis Blades, man. When this fight got announced, I was like walking in the park for Blades. Really walking the park for Blades. I mean, Volkov isn't bad. Absolutely not. But he's not going to defend the takedowns that Blades going to throw to him. And Blades will dominate this fight. Either wins a dominant unanimous decision, or he finishes him via ground and pound in the 3rd or 4th round. So I'm taking Blades 3rd round, TKO. I mean, Volkov only lost to Lewis in the UFC, I know, and it was a fight he was winning. So it's maybe weird, but I think there is a difference in level in this one, and definitely if it comes to the wrestling, and to the ground game. And Volkov might be better standing, but Blades will take this to the ground ASAP. So all in on Blades.
Yeah. One thing that stood out in the last fight against Junior Dos Santos, Blades was not able to get Junior Dos Santos down. I know much, underrated in terms of his grappling and his wrestling prowess, but finished him on the feet with the hands. So keep an eye out there. I think Volkov could have success on the feet, but I gotta favor Blades, especially in a smaller cage. Same with me. I'm going TKO. I'll say 4th round.
How many times you have said smaller cage?
I'm telling you, it's a thing. All right. Well, my co-host makes fun of me. We'll hand out bonuses here, and I am up first for fight of the night. And just for that, I'm going Shane Burgos, Josh Emmett, because I know that was going to be your pick, Big Marcel. Not that you can't pick it as well, but, just to rile you up a little bit. What is your pick for fight of the night?
Paddington Renault. Yeah, of course, Shane Burgos against Emmett.
I almost started writing that, and then I realized what I was doing.
I almost started writing that. What the fuck?
All right, you got performance of the night bonuses. You got a handout, 2 official and 2 backups.
2 official, we're going with Curtis Blades, obviously. We're going with Cyborg, Lyman Good. And the backups, we're getting... Who are we getting as backups? Bobby Green and Shane Burgos.
All right, my official ones are good, and Austin Hubbard with his come-from-behind victory. Bold pick, first fight of the night. And then Curtis Blades, and I don't have any other finishes. Shane Burgos is my backups, I guess. Underdog of the night. So my options are Lyman Good, Marc-Andre Barriault, Matt Frivola, Lauren Murphy, or Austin Hubbard. Give me a Lyman Good. Your options: Lyman Good, Marc-Andre Barriault, Courtney Casey, Matt Frivola.
Lyman Good.
And your lock of the night, Marcel.
That's actually difficult because I think many fights are close, but you're probably going with Raquel Pennington or Curtis Blades. I'm going with BVB.
Yeah, nice pick. I'm going to go with Pennington. You're right.
I know you, man.
All right. Let's recap and get out of here. First fight of the night, I'm going Austin Hubbard by TKO. Big Marcel's going with the Uber prospect, Max Roskopf. I'm taking Lauren Murphy. He's got Roxanne Modafferi. Both have Matt Frivola over Frank Camacho. I got Jillian Robertson. He's got Courtney Casey. We both got Marc-Andre Barriault over Oscar Picota. Both have Brianna Van Buren, Otisha Torres. Both have Bobby Green over Clay Guida. Both have Roe Roberts over Jim Miller. Both have Lyman Good over Bilal Muhammad. Both have Raquel Pennington over Marion Renault. Both have Shane Burgos over Josh Emmett. And both have Curtis Blades over Alexander Volkov. Fight of the night for me is Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos. It is the same for Marcel. Performance of the night bonus winners for me is Lyman Good and Austin Hubbard. For Marcel, it's Blades and Lyman Good. The backups for me are Blades and Burgos. The backups for Marcel are Bobby Green and Shane Burgos. We are both taking Lyman Good as our official underdog pick. And for our lock of the night, it's Brianna Van Buren for Marcel, Raquel Pennington for me. Final thoughts on the card, Marcel? What's the plan for it? Where are you watching?
I'm watching at home, just by myself. All by myself.
What's on tap? What's on the menu? What's the setup going to be? What do we got?
I'm probably buying some Ben & Jerry's again.
Attaboy. Me too. I got to figure out. I'm almost out, so I got to restock this week before the weekend.
I only buy one when when there is an event closed, because I'm going to buy more. I'm going to eat more, and that's not what I want to.
That's true. I have that problem too. If there's more in the house, I eat more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, be sure to check out all the great content over at the Loud Mouth MMA Podcast Network. All some great shows, including MMA Yesterday, The Not Safe for Work, Last Man Standing, UFC Recap Show, Sparring Sessions, and how could I forget Euromaniacs when it does return, hopefully soon, with all the Europeans fighting on Fight Island. I will let Marcel plug away at his great site and all the great work, but I do recommend checking out those interviews with Shane Burgos and Lyman Good ahead of the fight night. As we know, my great co-host does a lot of great work over there. MMA DNA, those guys, breaking news always. Sorry, go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, who did I do that you were maniacs again? Stevie Braveheart Ray? Or
I should have said it. I can't believe I went a whole show without making a joke about it.
Yeah, he never said something back to you, man. I told him he should.
No, he did. He said something funny one time. He was like making a comment about fighter pay, and I was like, "Was that what you got paid in your last fight, Braveheart?" And he goes, "Yeah, I make more than a tech professional," which is my tagline in my Twitter, which was good. He came back well.
Oh, nice.
He's wrong, but he came back well.
Good for him. Yeah. Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, and MMADNA.nl, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Check it out. Thank you to all our listeners, to the Loudmouth Network, and we will be back next week. UFC Vegas 4. Can't wait.